Okay, so you don't want to tape, and you've heard about stretching your paper, your watercolor paper, so it doesn't buckle, but that seems like a lot of work. Tape sometimes rips your paper, and maybe you don't want the border. So I'm going to show you how to paint really wet on wet. No tape, no stretching. Your paper won't buckle. Not while you're painting. Now, when it dries, it'll warp a little bit, but it's super easy to straighten that out by just putting it under something flat for a bit. So take a piece of glass or plexiglass or something, wet it. Ideally, you want to soak your watercolor both sides, but I'm doing a bookmark just because it's easy and short, and I'm gonna wet this, and then I'm just gonna slap it down on the plexiglass, and you'll see it is laying flat. So I would let this water soak in a bit, but I don't want to wait. This is just for demonstration purposes. So we're gonna do a lot of wet on wet here. Like I said, I usually let it wait a bit because it won't slide around so much once it's a little bit more, not quite so wet on the back there. But again, I'm just trying to be fast here. So, but yeah, as this starts to get a little less wet, it'll kind of glue to the paper a bit more. It won't like go around so much. And there you go. You can see that. I'm going to move it that way a bit. And maybe I want to do like a little green meadow. Let's do it on this end. I just want a nice little wet on wet thing going on here. Go off the paper. And there you go. We're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's dry. It's not dry yet, but it has been a couple of minutes, and I just want to show you this is not warped at all. It is still flat, pressed to the paper. My paper is dripping onto my board, which I'm going to clean up. And let's move some of this paint around. The other thing about having on a plexiglass board like this is if you want to, you can pick it up and tilt things around. Your watercolor paper is still very glued to this board, and as it dries, like I said, it'll warp a bit as it dries, but again, you can do this with any size paper. You can lay it under something flat for a couple days, dry. You don't even have to just spritz the back. If you want to speed it up, you spritz the back lightly, lay it under something flat, and put something heavy on it, and it'll be perfectly straight. So this thing is drying. You can see by tilting it, you can see the level of sheen is diminishing, and you can tell the paper is still pretty adhered to the plexiglass, still laying flat as it's drying. Now I'm going to show you, remember how I said when this thing starts to dry, if I'd waited, it would have glued down a bit more. This is pretty stuck. You can see I'm tapping it and it's not budging. So if you don't want your paper to move around as you're painting all over it, and you can see actually hitting it, finally moved. Oh no, the plexiglass. It's actually kind of hard to move it. So I always recommend that when you're wetting it down, just wait a little bit for that, like soak your paper on both sides. Let it kind of dry for a minute or two so it's not soaking, dripping wet. Spritz your plexiglass if you want to, make sure there's no puddles of water, but it's just evenly kind of damp. and you put your paper on to your plexiglass, it's gonna go like this. So just to show how solidly it's on there, we're gonna go like this. I'm gonna make some textures, little grasses, and you can see this paper is not moving. And we're gonna come back in a bit. Okay, this is getting pretty dry. You can see it's still mostly adhered to the board. What's gonna happen here is, as it dries, the edges will dry first, and that'll lead to them coming off. The other thing is if you use this method, the back of your painting is likely to get some paint on it, so don't use this method if you don't want that to happen. And again, just put this under something flat and heavy and clean, and it'll straighten right up once it's completely dry.